He's Bill Ryder, and he's Ryder than you.
The program Ryder than you, sometimes.
He's a fan.
I love sports so much.
He's in your face.
I will destroy those obnoxiously arrogant, clueless, tone-deaf superstars who are marginal players, good players, who made careers, who think they're Hall of Famers.
He's nice.
I promise, we're nice here.
He's humble.
I think I'm pretty good if you're on the show about admitting if I got it wrong.
Live from Los Angeles, here's Bill Ryder.
All right, welcome to the show. That thing gets longer every time I listen to it. I can't imagine if you're the guest. She's like, oh, my God, just get me on. What are you doing? It's a podcast. It's not like I can surprise you. It's Howard Beck. Let's just put him up. You see it when I put the headline out. Howard Beck from The Ringer, co-host of Real One, senior writer, all-around great guy, longtime NBA writer, reporter, journalist. Hey, man, thanks for being here, pal.
Bill, great to see you, man. I love this. I love the familiarity, the warmth of the same intro, some version of which I've been hearing every time I've come on your program on various platforms for the last, I don't know how many years. It's nice. It's nice to, it feels like home.
I cannot wait till we get to the alien talk later, since it's been in the news, and this time I don't have
You
to,
mean Victor Wembanyama, right?
I don't, yes, sure.
You're referring solely and only to Victor Wembanyama when you say aliens.
If you pay at billwriter.substack.com and you have access to the video portion, you've seen me wink at Howard as I say, of course I'm talking about Victor Wembanyama. Well, let's dive in. I want to ask them a little more sort of far-reaching. So I'm not covering the NBA right now. It is the first time in a really long time I've consumed it in a very different way. How would you describe this season just in terms of the quality of the product? Because this is a thing that I'm not really sort of in, and buddies of mine have vastly different perspectives on this, which I find really interesting. And friends of mine who cover the sport, who I occasionally check in with, see this in vastly different ways. How is the product in the NBA right now from your vantage point?
I mean, in a lot of ways, we are in a bit of a golden era when it comes to just like supreme talents occupying the NBA space at the same time, because we have this extended prime or this extended late prime of LeBron James and Steph Curry and Kevin Durant. They're all still relevant. Now, Steph has been hurt, and that has, knocked the Warriors down a peg, and it has put Steph off the radar for the last few weeks. But before he went down, Steph was playing at an all-NBA level. LeBron may not make all-NBA this year, or he won't because of the games played requirements, but he's still playing at a super high level. So is Kevin Durant. And the Lakers, for all their issues, are still, flirting with, 50-win season. And Durant and the Rockets are still going to be, a top 4 seed in the West. And in addition to all that, we have Victor Wembanyama and Luka Doncic and Nikola Jokic. And, Cooper Flagg, until he went down a few weeks ago, was living up to all of the hype that followed him into last year's NBA draft. And Con Knippel, who may just well win Rookie of the Year, maybe we'll talk about that later, is having one of the greatest rookie seasons, especially from a shooting standpoint, that we've ever seen. And we have just a ton of young talent in this league. Anthony Edwards, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, on and on. Jason Tatum's going to be back soon. And so we have an overlap of, young, and super old by NBA standards. So I think the quality of talent and the quality of play is super high, but there's various clouds that hang over. I wrote about this a few weeks ago at theringer.com about just, from the tanking issues to the gambling scandal, to the cap circumvention scandal involving the Clippers, to just load management and the malaise that has put, I think, over the league and over fandom for years now, where any given night, especially this time of year, you look up and you go, oh, that should be a really good game. Oh, this guy's resting. Oh, this guy's hurt. This guy's out. And it sucks from that standpoint. And then on top of all of that, as much as I think NBC and Amazon have both knocked it out of the park as the new, in NBC's case, old new partners, it's awesome. But like the frustration of not knowing where to find games night to night, maybe we just all need time to get used to it and we're all just being old and cranky. But there are all these other issues, Bill, I think that kind of can detract from the product. But I think overall the product is in incredible shape. The basketball is fantastic.
So as a fan, right, when I'm not paid to do this, which I'm not any longer, of all these sports, one of the sort of ways I get pulled in, Howard, is if there's just an athlete that's so mesmerizing that I will watch regardless of sort of what I'm doing or my sort of general interest. Caitlin Clark is that for me. Messi was that for me before I watched soccer. Shohei Ohtani, right? I haven't watched a lot of baseball the last 5 years. I'd like to watch more. Is that there's a lot of those guys who qualify for me in the NBA. I still find myself wanting to watch Anthony Edwards. I still find myself wanting to watch Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. But Victor Wembanyama is sort of the top of that for me. If he is playing and I can figure out what channel he's on, or I can figure out what streaming service he's on, I'm in. And the Spurs are obviously really good. And I think of you sometimes when I watch the Spurs, and to a lesser extent when I watch the Pistons, right? Two really good basketball teams who are led by young players. And Cade Cunningham has more experience than Wembanyama. And I would argue, I think we all would, Wembanyama is a better player, but they're both outstanding. They don't have a lot of postseason experience as these teams are constructed. And you've talked about this a lot over the years, that you think, and I agree with you, that it's important, that it's relevant to have postseason success and experience to actually be able to make an NBA championship and try to win one. How would you assess the Spurs and the Pistons this year as playoff contenders or threats or not?
So historically, experience has really mattered in the NBA. And we have, and I've always loved this particular kind of postseason axiom, like this law of the league, where it's like Michael Jordan had to get his ass kicked a couple of times before he could rise, right? And Kobe and Shaq had to take their lumps before they could rise. And the Warriors had like a pretty quick breakthrough after, I think, just pretty scant playoff experience, but they were at that time the exception to the rule. Usually, if you're a young team on the way up, right? Not a manufactured, and I don't mean this in a pejorative way, but like not a Miami Heat team that added LeBron and Bosh to Dwayne Wade back in 2010, right? Most teams, and the Pistons are emblematic of this right now, right? They get into the playoffs last year. First time they made the playoffs in forever. First time with this group. Play really tough against the Knicks in the first round, losing 6 games. And if not for a twist and turn here and there, and Isaiah Stewart being hurt and a bad referee call at the end of a game, who knows? Maybe they might have pushed it to 7. Maybe they would have won that series, but they lost. And now they're leading the East. And our instincts tell us they haven't paid their dues yet. Haven't gotten their butts kicked enough times yet. Not ready. Haven't even won a single playoff series. You can't make it to the NBA Finals, even if you are the 1 seed in the East. So, Bill Ryder, what I'm going to tell you today, though, is I think the Oklahoma City Thunder kind of smashed that construction last spring, period. They were the youngest team in like 50 years and one of the youngest of all time to win the championship by like average age of their top rotation guys. And I don't think they were an anomaly. I think what the Thunder did last year in winning the championship was indicative of where we are in the league right now, which is in a time of unparalleled parity, which is where the NBA is right now for the last 7 or so years running. The old axioms don't hold quite as firmly as they once did. So the experience factor, the age factor, the, got to have your battle wounds factor, I think these things have faded a bit. And I think because of that, I believe the Pistons can make the finals. In fact, I think the Pistons, as we speak right now, should be the favorites in the East, with all due respect to the Celtics, who are probably getting Jason Tatum back soon, with all due respect to the Knicks, who have been on fire for the last month or so, with all due respect to the Cavaliers, who look really great with James Harden. The Pistons, by virtue of record and every other indicator, I think are the worthy favorites in the East. And I don't think their lack of playoff experience is necessarily disqualifying. Similarly, the Spurs, the talent is just incredible. Victor Wembanyama is already a top 5 player in the league, at minimum. And Stephon Castle has made a leap even since his Rookie of the Year campaign. And Dylan Harper looks really good. And they do have some veterans like De'Aaron Fox, who, is a key member of this team. Harrison Barnes is hanging out there somewhere. They've got a couple other like mid-career veterans. They got guys like, Luke Cornett. So I think like the Spurs can do this. The Spurs, like the Thunder, are the worthy favorites in the West, but the Spurs have beaten them multiple times. So, yeah.
Do you like parity? Do you like the parity? I mean, because it's been now that may be different this year. It's been a long time since we've had back-to-back NBA champions. It's been a run of sort of revolving doors of champions. Obviously, the Thunder are very, very good in the betting favorites again this year. I liked it in practice when I used to think about it 10 years ago. I am agnostic on how I feel about it today. I'm not sure.
I wrestle with it a little bit. I do. Like, as you know, I started my NBA writing career covering the Shaq and Kobe Lakers. So I covered a dynasty. And there were times when that was really enjoyable. There were times when that felt really too predictable, right? Like, when I remember like literally being bored in the middle of like, I think they had their first year under Phil Jackson, they had 3 separate double-digit win streaks. And one of them went to like, I don't know, maybe 20 or something. And at some point you're just like, man, they just need to lose just to shake up the storyline. It's just getting boring. It's not boring for Laker fans. It's not boring for the team. But at a certain point, it's like, you need, we're writers first and foremost, right? We are both now also podcasters and other things, but we enjoy the story, and a story that becomes predictable is no longer interesting. When the Warriors and Cavaliers were facing off in 4 straight NBA finals, and especially once the Warriors became this, evil empire with Kevin Durant, a lot of people, fans primarily, were like, there's no suspense here. We training camps open in late September or October, and we already think we know the outcome. And in fact, we did. Was that good for the league during that time? I mean, Steph versus LeBron and Warriors versus LeBron was always enjoyable, but maybe not the finals where it ended in 5 games. And when we knew from day one how the season was going to end. So on that note, parity is good, right? We have more suspense and mystery than we've ever had. The Thunder can be the worthy favorites and the defending champs, but there's a decent enough chance that it's going to be the field instead, right? There's the Nuggets, if they're healthy, could knock them out. The Spurs could knock them out. There's, maybe even Minnesota could come out of the West. So we've got at least 4 legit, I think, contenders in the West.
You wouldn't put Houston on that list?
And 4 legit contenders in the East. What's that?
You wouldn't put Houston on that list of...
No.
Really?
I don't believe in the Rockets. No.
Can you give me the 30-second or 3-minute, whatever you want? I'm interested in that.
They tend to bog down, especially in fourth quarters offensively in the half court. They really do miss Fred VanVleet. I'm going to say I don't do this that often. I was righter than you, not you, Bill Ryder, but then world. World, whoever said, they don't need Fred VanVleet. It's fine. They don't need to get another point guard. It's fine. They've got all these different shot creators. Şengün can lead the offense. Durant can lead the offense. Amen Thompson's going to take another leap. Reed Shepherd, blah, 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 blah. I thought, no, like Fred VanVleet was actually really important. And it turns out he was. So I think in a playoff series, when teams are going to do everything to take away your number one option, and when they're going to do everything possible to make you stagnant, the Rockets are going to help you in that regard because they already are pretty stagnant.
Howard, this is like, keep going. Sorry.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm not putting them in that conversation. I think it's a 4-way race. Minnesota, Oklahoma, San Antonio, Denver.
Quick non sequitur on your Lakers coverage years, and people that don't know, Howard also covered the New York Knicks when that was not easy, and I won't speak for you, but I would imagine unpleasant to do. Howard has sort of you've been at the forefront of covering some teams. Did you ever look forward to your teams that you covered being knocked out of the playoffs or not making the playoffs so that you could be done? I've always wanted to ask you this, and I would never remember. Because I can remember covering the Heat a couple years in a row, and the first year I was a rookie, sort of NBA, like, this is exciting. I worked till June. Year 2, I'd see buddies. They'd be like, yeah, I'm deuces. I covered the Sixers. I'm out of here. I'm on vacation with my wife. It's a grind. And when you cover the Lakers, you covered a lot of playoff runs. Not so much with the Knicks.
7 years on the Lakers, and they went to the finals 4 out of the last 5 years that I covered that team. And there's another, I think at least one of their conference finals appearance in there. So those were deep playoff runs. Those were long seasons. And the nice thing back then was the off seasons were calm. We didn't have the 12-month-a-year NBA kind of coverage that we have today. So at least back then, if I was like just ready to collapse, and I often was, whenever the Lakers were done, at least I knew they're going to have a low pick, if at all. And so it's going to be inconsequential. We don't have to really worry about draft coverage. I was only the Lakers. I was not national. I didn't have to worry about the draft as a whole. I didn't have to worry about anything other than what the Lakers were doing. The Las Vegas Summer League didn't exist yet. There were summer leagues, multiple across the country, including one in Long Beach at the Pyramid. And I would bop down there for a day or two, but it wasn't, again, we didn't do exhaustive round the clock coverage of Summer League back in the day. So at least got the summers off. And then the Lakers never had any cap room. So like they were just adding like a J.R. Ryder to a minimum contract or something, or re-signing Mike Penberthy or whatever. I didn't have to worry. So my summers, they owed me a shit ton of comp time. And so I would just spend the whole summer off.